Welcome to some of you and to others. Welcome back. Everyday Gamer here. And as usual, I'll do another quick tutorial video / reference video for scratch blocks. This is a really important section, so there's some really intricate stuff to pay attention to, but please don't forget to like and subscribe the video. And that way you can immediately know when we put out a new scratch reference. All right, let's not waste any time. And let's get right into the events block section, as you can see, which is the next section for us to do. The first block, the when green flag clicked block, is a super important block. This block is the equivalent of saying when the game starts. And it refers to this green flag right here. If you pay attention to the shape of the block, you'll notice that it has a bump at the top and a pop out at the bottom. This is because it and all the other pieces shaped like it are starter pieces, meaning the other pieces are to be attached to these to be able to carry out their function when called. This block can be used in one sprite or to create the starting state you'd like for the game, and also for any continuous loops that will be running from the start to the end of your game. Using multiple of them in one sprite is not an issue. However, if you have more than one and have contradicting instructions, the game will not work properly. Let's move on to the when space key pressed block. This block is another big one. This block has a drop-down menu that allows you to select any of these keys. There's a lot here. They're from your keyboard, and it includes the up, down, left, and right arrows as well. Most of them you will connect any of the motion blocks to have your sprites move in the appropriate ways. Again, be careful using the same block with contradicting instructions, or else you'll run into problems and many times be lost as to why it won't work. A simple example is we can have, when the space key is pressed, say we wanted to say hello, and we didn't pay enough attention to realize we also want to say goodbye, which is very possible. Right? Problem is, it can't do both at the same time, even though we're telling it to. This might be a bad example. As you can see, it says goodbye. All right, so you want one instruction to make. If you're putting instructions in, you want to make sure that they're not conflicting with something else you've already put in. All right. Next, we have when this sprite is clicked block, just as big as the other two, right? This block is pretty self-explanatory, though. Right? It is used when you want to tell the sprite to react to being clicked by the player during the game. This one is a little more important to watch out for instructions with, because not only will contradicting instructions, like telling it to move up by 10 and move down by 10, cause the problem that we just saw. It has to choose. But also telling the sprite something like to hide in one of the instructions, which, when clicked, hide, and also to say in another something else, it'll stop the block from listening, because hide stops this from functioning with the code that's inside of it. All right, so don't use, this isn't just about using the hide block. It's about making sure that you don't not only use conflicting instructions, but that you're not giving it instructions and then telling it to do stuff after you've told it to, let's say, hide, not have a function and not pay attention to how you're connecting blocks to these pieces. All right. Next, we're going to go to the when the backdrop switches block. It's a block you can use when you want to have the game interact with changes in scenery, mostly like changing a stage in games you've played already. The drop-down menu allows you to choose any of the backgrounds you've already created. In our case, I've only created one. And you can tell I've only created one because when we go to backdrops, there's none here, except the one that I created, which I didn't create. It's already there. It's just the one background. That's why there's only one option here. However, if you create more, let's do so quickly. Backdrop 2, as you can see now. We'll go to number 1, go to code, back where we were, and now I have another option. Okay. Quickly. All right. There are many other uses, but as we said, using this block to tell some sprites where to go when switches happen between the scenes, or even tell music to start playing whenever your game starts. Your game switches backdrops is some of the few options, or many options that you have once you start understanding what the block does. So get to figuring out what kind of cool stuff you want to do when your stages change. There, another unique block, of course, is the when loudness is greater than 10 block. This has a drop-down menu, as the other one does, which also includes timer. Okay. These options are connected to the loudness and timer inserts. I will show you them now. Loudness and timer. Loudness is relative to your microphone. Timer is obviously a timer that's going off once your game has started. If I stop the game and start it, this timer starts at 0. Okay, but that's not what the block section we're on to, just a relation to where these options come from. Yes, so now they're connected to the loudness and timer inserts. These are things that you can use in Scratch from the start, and based on the values, you can have the game react using this block, right? So if I set timer, when timer is greater than 10, right? When timer is greater than 10, do something. So let's say the timer greater than 60. So let's say I set my game to 60 seconds. And I say, okay, when the timer reaches 60, I'm going to stop the game, right? So, something like that. All right. On to when I receive message block. This is a hugely important block as it has a direct connection with the next block, and both of them together allow your game to function as a cooperative unit. This block is used to tell any sprite or even the backdrop that a message will be received at some point, and when it does come, do whatever instruction you attach to this block. This block can be used in multiple sprites and backdrops. It also has a drop-down menu which will allow you to make a custom message. Simply click the down arrow, click the new message. From here, you're going to call it whatever you like. You're going to click OK. And you can now switch the block so it can interact with the message you've created, as you see. Relative to the block above, we are now on the broadcast message block. The broadcast message and broadcast message and wait block must be used to send out the message that the when I receive message block will be listening for. Similarly to above, click new message if you want to create it here. You can also create it in these ones. And you can create a new message. Call it what you'd like and then use it at will. The difference between the two blocks, broadcast message and broadcast message and wait, are that the last one will send out a message and wait for any blocks that have an instruction attached to the when I receive this message block before it will continue to follow its instruction. We'll give a quick example, because that's what we're doing. So say we say here, say hello. And we say, when I receive the message, good. We're gonna say, I'm thinking. All right. So we're going to broadcast message 1 when the game starts. Okay. And then immediately after we broadcast our message, we're going to say hello. When this thing receives the message, which will be before we go down here, it should say, You see? So it didn't wait. But what happened is it broadcasted the message first, which sent out this before it went down here. And this, we told it to say, And we told it to say hello right after. However, if we put them in different places and we say, do you notice it's saying hello? And then it stopped, but it's still not saying That's because it did them at the same time, if possible. This happened right after this happened. This was happening already at that time, so this happened and then disappeared, essentially, if you will. Or couldn't be called because that second thing happened. However, when I do it with the wait block, let's see the difference. Okay. So we're going to tell it to broadcast first. This will happen after this happens, and this will directly go here and think, Then, but the difference with this block is instead of going down here and happening right away, it's going to wait until this has happened. Then it's going to come back and do this. You see? And now it's doing the This happened because this wait block waits for whatever you sent out to receive it and then listen and do what it's told. And then when it comes back, having realized that it's done what you were told to do when you sent the message, then it'll check and see if there's anything below that it needs to do, and it will do it then. All right. Cool. All right. Hopefully that was useful. It was nice and short and to the point. And I hope it was something that you could find quite useful for you in making your games. This is a piece I use all these obviously a lot. Obviously everybody uses when the game starts. But yeah, all these pieces are great. I've never used the loudness or timer. I've always made my own timers. But it's obviously a great feature. definitely can use it to avoid certain things. Yeah, you don't have to personally make, but yeah, get creative. All right, that's all for the video, and I hope you learned how to use these blocks even better than before. Go and enjoy making your games even better. And as always, this is Everyday Gamer, and I will scratch you later.